Beautiful soul, I hope that you're having a great day. It is Tuesday, July 18th, 2024. And over the past week, we have seen many predictions coming into fruition. All this while we have these energies that only just begun to flow onto our planet on July 11th. And there is so much more to come, friends, so much more to come. Not only did Donald Trump dodge a bullet on Saturday the 13th, the United States likely dodged a bullet as well when it comes to preventing complete civil unrest, leading to perhaps civil war. And that's exactly what the global elite wish to see, friends. This is exactly why there was an attempt. All of this is all linked together to past predictions. And there is no coincidence that Hollywood released that movie, Civil War, along with the previous movie, Leave the World Behind. Symbolism all around us. And remember what Spirit said. Symbolism will be their downfall. Yes. So many speculations and, of course, conspiracies around the Pow Pow event that took place Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania, starting with the crazy, outlandish claims that Trump and his team staged this event themselves. Sorry, friends, and sorry to disappoint the conspiracy theorists that believe in such nonsense. But you don't dodge a bullet and stage a bullet whizzing by your own head, clipping yourself in the ear. No, sorry, just not happening, friends. And not only that, you got to remember, going back to the past predictions and what Spirit said. Spirit said and told us that Trump was going to be hit in his right side. I said his right shoulder, only inches from his right ear, close enough. But is there going to be another one? Is there more coming? Is there going to be another attempt? Not only just on him, but on someone else too. Something you're going to want to hear about today. And how this all aligns, even going back to the world predictions for 2024 that I first put out in December. So earlier this month, in a channeled message from Spirit, we were told that Saint Germain was going to descend back to the earth in North America with the Archangel on July 11th or July 15th, in between that window. And not only would we see an ignition of the sacred purple flame for North America, which means all the way up to Canada, of course, but also the soul of Donald Trump would see the ignition of Saint Germain's purple flame. Now, that sounded crazy when I heard it, personally. I thought, I'm like, really? Really? Okay, if you say so, Spirit, I don't argue with the spirits. I'll argue with you, but I won't argue with the spirits, friends. Not happening. Well, now we know why, right? Now it makes complete sense. So we're going to go look at that, because there's no doubt that there was something 100% indeed protecting him from being eliminated. And thankfully, again, people wish that on him. Shame on you for doing so, because especially if you're an American, because this country would be in complete chaos right now. And is that what you want? I mean, come on, we need to come together. We need to unite. We need goodness for all people and all leaders. So what was Spirit trying to tell us? And is, again, there going to be a noticeable change in Donald Trump and other leaders, as Spirit has told us, with this purple flame? And what does the future hold when it comes to future attacks? Lots of things to discuss today. And sadly, there's another one of my predictions that all these predictions, actually, if we put them together, they clearly tell a story. And they tell a story that there is much, much more to come in our direction, including other attempts. And not only just on Trump, we're going to talk about other ones that I see. And we're going to talk about, along with my feelings, of this second person that's going to be caught in the crosshairs. Just wait until these truths start rolling out, friends. Because the truth is going to come out about all this. Might be a few years, but it's all going to come out. You can't lie anymore. I tell you that. With the energies and everything, your lies aren't going to hold strong for very long. You might get away with it for a little while, but you're not getting away for it for good. So now, not only that, more importantly, perhaps likely we dodged civil unrest as Trump dodged the bullet, but is this good, or is this potential civil unrest still on the table? Is there still a potential for civil war? Hollywood seems to be pushing it. Mass media, of course, is pushing any agenda that they're told to push. I remember Spirit telling us about the three-letter agencies. This was a while ago. I think this was last year. Like the FBI, for example, and all the other three letters. Spirit told us that they were going to be put under a microscope, right? Now we know why, right? And then when I first saw that, I'm like, oh, well, that must be that perhaps Trump's winning again, which we know he will, especially after this event occurred. So we thought that, and maybe him stepping in and going after the FBI, CIA, and that could still be the case very well. But he's not in office yet, and now the CIA is being placed under a fine microscope. The leader of the CIA, who should be resigning, is sticking to it. And of course, she was appointed and put into place by the current leader of the United States. So now, with all this happening in their agencies and their deep, dark secrets, it's all about to come out, friends. It's all about to come out. And after this past weekend's attempt on Trump's life, it made this past prediction even more plausible than ever, friends. And I have more information on all of that today, of course. Earlier this year, I think it might have been in the world predictions or maybe January predictions, one of them, but it was earlier this year when I talked about different celebrities that were going to be exiting this year. One of those that I stated was Richard Simmons in my list of folks that I felt would pass away in 2024, and sadly Richard did pass away, and it was on the day after his birthday. How sad. Have you ever noticed? I have, being a medium, doing this for over 30 years, having unfortunately lots of friends and family on the spirit world. Like, I lost count of the amount of funerals I've been to in my lifetime. And I find that many people pass right before, sometimes the day of, or within a few days after their birthday. What is that all about? I'm going to explain what that's all about. We also lost Shannon daughter. I can never say that last name. Excuse me. 90120 Shannon I can't get that name out of my mouth. Don't you hate when that happens? Anyway, moving right along. So we're going to talk about that in the birthday affiliation. Did you hear that Mexico's new president just placed a ban on certain items from United States of America? The new president of Mexico is taking their power back, it appears. And are you aware that they're now what it is that they're now banning from U.S.? A product that they're not allowing into their country any longer? This is a big one, friends. There's a lot of big money in this, too, especially for Mexico. I'm going to share this with you today, and this very interesting information with you today. It was also a while back, perhaps in 2023 world predictions, that Spirit said that we would see the return of the Black Plague. Remember that? That could have actually been a couple years ago. 2023 predictions, maybe? I thought it was back pretty far back, that we would see the return of the Black Plague. And we have, in the United States, in the state of Colorado, to be more precise, to be exact. So could this be connected to the outbreak that I picked up on and Spirit told us coming in our near future? Or will it be related to the bird flu? And when could we actually see such an event hit? So much to talk about, friends. So hop aboard our psychic train and vibe with your tribe as we review this week's past stories, past predictions, and how they all relate to each other, with new predictions each and every week, as we do on today's topics and other topics as well. So y'all know what time it is?
It's tea time, baby.
Beautiful souls, once again, I hope that you're having an amazing day, Tuesday, July 18th, 2024. I know that many watching, it's Wednesday, July 17th in other parts of the world, but wherever you're watching from, welcome. And I'm so glad that you're hopping aboard with us today. I want to welcome all the amazing new subscribers to our tribe. We have hundreds of new people vibing with the tribe, and I am so grateful, and I welcome you all, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed with the predictions put out here by myself and my team of spirit guides. Down below, you'll find the description to my newsletter, which is free. Newsletter goes out the first of every month with the numerology, basic astrology, and all the content that you may have missed. You can also find out about my upcoming class. Master class starts the end of August. I'll have some fall classes being posted soon, so keep an eye. You can find all that information directly on my website at josephtittel.com, Tittel, or spiritmanjt.com takes you to the same place, and Spiritman JT is a little bit easier to remember. Check it out. Down below, you'll find all the links to my social media. You can find me on Spotify, Rumble, and all other platforms. Spotify is this podcast, Tuesday's podcast. It goes up there in the monthly forecast. Everything else, all the in-between videos are all on YouTube. You can also be a supporter on the Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community down below in the description as well. So let us move on. We have so much to talk about today. So let us move on, friends, to episode number 126.
Teatime, baby.
Well, friends, Spirit did tell us to expect these waves of energy to begin flowing in on July 11th. And we certainly did, without a doubt. And on the 15th, which was yesterday. Now, yesterday I felt a little weird, a little oddly energized. That's the phrase I would use, oddly energized. It wasn't a bad thing. I slept pretty well, but the previous 2 nights, I had a very hard time sleeping, and I'm not one that has a hard time sleeping. I'm a hard sleeper. I sleep at least 8.5 hours a night, sometimes 9 hours if I can. I found that difficult. Last night was a good night's sleep, though. I rested hard, so those energies come in. That does affect our sleep patterns and things. Spirit said the 15th, nothing really big happened on the 15th other than these energies coming in. Spirit also told us to keep an eye on the window between the 15th and the 22nd. And there's a lot more heading our way by the time we get to next weekend when we have the full moon ringing in. So much. No coincidence that the attempts on Donald Trump's life were on the 13th. Now, we all know that the illuminated ones, we'll call them that, the illuminated ones. That's what they call themselves anyway. They love that number 13. And these cards I have, I thought I had a 13 card, but I've showed you these cards many times. I'm not going to say the word. I'm just going to show them to you. Because I've had videos when I've showed people these past cards that were put out in 1992 and 93 of things that came true. A lot of things, like this particular thing here. If you can look at that very, very closely, pause your screen, you'll see everything on that picture. Everything. And we can always even go all the way back to 2011 when we saw this happen. And there's other cards too. The other one I cannot show you of New York, 2001. But there's a card that shows the 13th, the date the 13th. Of course, it shows also Friday the 13th. But I don't believe in coincidences, friends. We are also just a day away from stepping into that cycle, that very long, proximate 8-week cycle that begins with the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde stepping into the sign of Leo. So the direct Mercury retrograde in Virgo doesn't come rolling in until early August, I think the 4th or the 5th, somewhere around there. A month that Spirit has been warning us about August all the way back since December, November. I think even November channeled predictions or October's channeled predictions of last year. Spirit brought up this period of time that we're going into and that we're in now. August is going to be a real flare up. Talk about a wildfire on our planet. Hold on tight, friends. Warnings that go back from Spirit for a while. And being that we do so much with connecting with Spirit here and predictions and channel predictions, often we have to put the pieces together. And I learned that from what came through in relation to this attempt on DT. Remember, I had 2 different visions. I'm going to share that with you in a little bit. 2 different visions that kind of weave together, but don't. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. It is also so important too, friends. Very important that you know and understand that as of tomorrow, this Mercury retrograde, even though it's in pre-shadow, it's still retrograde. Done regardless, it's still retrograde. Because I'll see comments all the time when I say this. Oh, retrograde don't start till August, whatever. No, it starts in the pre-shadow, which is tomorrow, the 17th, in the sign of Leo. And it still will affect people. It will still have an effect on everything. That whole 8-week cycle does, even the pre-shadow and the post-shadow. And sometimes the post-shadow can be even more intense than the actual direct cycle. That post-shadow don't end until September. So it's going to be a doozy. So think about this, though. Be very aware that this is going to cause major issues with communications, friends. Communications. So when you hear news or even conversations with others, think about things before you actually react. Because communication issues, we hear things the wrong way. I remember retrograde years ago, and somebody, an old friend, I sent them a text message and they got all mad at me. I'm like, and I was like, what are you mad at? Oh, your message was aggressive. I'm like, how the heck did you get aggression out of a message asking how you are today or whatever it was. It was something simple like that. That's what retrograde energies do, friends. Mercury retrograde energies do. So remember that. Think before you react. For chances are that you're going to end up totally you or someone else is going to misinterpret you, or you're going to misinterpret their message of communication. And this is why there's so much tension with people during Mercury retrogrades. More arguments, of course. Much more emotions. Emotions run wild during retrograde. That's going to be August, friends. Emotions running wild. Don't let your emotions run wild. Stay grounded, do prayer, do ceremony, and you'll look back with regret if you don't do it. So don't look back with regret. Learn ahead of time. Make the precautions ahead of time. Just like Spirit's been telling us for how long to stock up on food, water, that big events were coming. Well, now we know it. And now I'm in that mode. I've been stocking up for years, but now I'm in this mode of major stock up time. I just got that switch today that clicked in my brain. I've been buying a little bit of silver here and there, an ounce here, an ounce there, whatever. I have maybe a pound or two, but I'm going to buy more. As soon as I'm done recording today's show, actually, I'm going to order me some more just to be prepared, just in case. It's better to be prepared than to be scared. So yesterday, we also hit the Taurus conjunct Uranus, which is all about sudden twists and turns. Sudden changes along with sudden breakthroughs. So we could see good breakthroughs come through as well. Positive things, breakthroughs in the medical community and so forth. But this is going to bring in a wave of energy, friends. Well, it did. It brought in a huge wave of energy, and it's going to continue, especially when we hit that date on the yesterday, when we hit yesterday's date. So this is going to bring in a wave of what they say is unpredictable events. But Spirit's got us up to par with stuff, so I think some of those events have already been predicted by this channel and my team of spirit guides. And I believe more of those predictions are yet to come, because there's so much to come, friends, so much. So July 20th, right before the huge wave of energy pours in with the full moon, the following day on the 21st, we have Mars, friends. Mars, the planet of war, going into Gemini. So this is going to bring with it a much larger divide, unfortunately, with people and with world leaders, which causes conflict. I would expect there to be some type of conflict, perhaps even like a bombing type of an event happening. And I'm saying like one country hitting another country. It could be also, a fear-related boom or some other unexpected use of a weapon around the same time period. Let's say from the 20th to the 22nd. With this energy continuing into August, like this full moon energy, I would expect all these events to even continue. That friction, that disagreements amongst people, the communication issues, all of this is just going to start to ignite this coming weekend. That's why I say be aware, be mindful. Remember, if we look back at some of the past channeled predictions from Spirit, I saw large explosions happening in places like Paris, United States, Chicago, New York, a bunch of others. Do I believe that'll happen this weekend? I believe one of them could happen this weekend without a doubt. Mostly I'm looking at August and then also the month of October. Spirit's been telling us about those months for almost a year. So keep an eye on those time periods. And keep an eye on the window of July 20th through the 22nd as that full moon energy comes in. Because it's Sunday the 21st that we have the full moon. And I put Capricorn, but is it Capricorn? I feel like that I might have put that in wrong. Regardless, it's the full moon, and it's going to be intense. Capricorn, which is really going to start to shine a bright light on things, friends. A bright light. And I have this feeling that I have to tell you all to expect and keep your third eye open, friends. Keep your third eye open at this full moon coming up. Because we are going to have extremely heightened paranormal activity. Extremely heightened paranormal activity and activity in our skies up above. From unexplained phenomena to UFOs and other strange events all over the world. This energy is going to carry us into the month of August. So it's only just igniting on that full moon. When we step into August in numerology for 2024 is a 7 universal month. And I know there's those out there saying, oh, no, it's an 8. No, not in numerology, because we add the year with the month and it adds up and breaks down to a 7 vibration. Last year was a 7 year. If you remember last year's predictions for the year, January's predictions for 2023, I said we were going to see major UFO and alien events taking place to shift people's consciousness and beliefs, because the 7 vibration is about making you think something different, changing what you believe in. Like the Pope telling us hell don't exist, for example. They want to change what you believe in. If they can make you not believe in hell, they'll make you not believe that they exist and that the darkness exists. And it does, friends. It very much exists on a very, very big scale, to say the least. That's what they want, though. They want you to believe differently, and that's what the 7 vibration does. And look, we had aliens allegedly land in Vegas and in Florida and all kinds of stuff last year. Expect that in the month of August. And expect that even kicking off coming up this weekend. Remember the vision I had? Well, it wasn't a vision. It was in my channel predictions, which is all visions. But that information I saw in that meditation, a large spaceship going over top of the city, bringing a bit of panic. I tell you, friends, don't panic. And don't think it's going to be real either. They're trying to manipulate things. They use the numbers and they use the astrology to their advantage. And they probably have their own team of really good psychics as well. So apparently they ain't that good because they failed at their attempt on DT, thankfully. So yeah, lots of things are going to flare up, friends. Lots of things are flaring up. It's going to be really interesting and amazing at the same time. You got to look at the good aspect of it, because humanity needs to wake up. And it's going to take a lot to wake up. And this whole event that I see them trying to pull off with the large spaceships or something big in the skies purposefully, this is all faked. It's, again, purposely faked to trick people. And I don't see this just happening in one city. I feel like this is a global event that's going to happen all over. They're going to test the people. And I also feel, and this is the good aspect of it, friends, I feel like they're going to screw it up somehow. I don't know how, but I feel like they're going to screw it up and get caught. They're going to get caught. Their technology is going to backfire on them. We can hold that in the light. So let's step back to the date, July 11th. Spirit told us on July 4th, actually. July 4th, when I posted channel predictions. And they're always done a couple days, meditation's done a couple days ahead. So I did it either July 2nd or July 3rd. Then I posted it on July 4th. The same with this past Friday. I posted a channel prediction about the U.S. elections. And both those channel predictions talk about similar assassination attempts on leaders, specifically Trump. But they were both different. We're going to take a listen at those today. But first, I want to step to the date a couple days back, or last week, to the date, the 11th of the month. And Spirit told us that there was energies rolling in. So let me rewind and go back to that video from the channeled meditation that I posted on July 4th that I did prior. A big flame is being ignited by Saint Germain in the United States. The flame was ignited once before, but the dark ones try so hard to diminish the purple sacred flame of Saint Germain. And also Archangel Ezekiel ruling over the United States and flying down through the months of July, August, September, October, and November to bring that purple flame to the planet Earth and to the United States. United States will be the ones that need to awaken first. And in doing so, unfortunate events are going to happen. Unpredictable, shocking events, including a large explosion that really shakes the people. The sacred purple flame of Saint Germain being ignited on the planet Earth and in North America. So our friends up in Canada, you should be feeling this effect too with your leaders. Remember, I predicted last year that Trudeau, he's in his 9th year this year. He's got to go. Gotta go, Trudeau. That's what y'all should sing in Canada. Gotta go, Trudeau. Maybe that'll help you out a little bit. This all brings me back to the year that Prince passed away. The pop star Prince. Amazing artist. Amazing. And I did a video, and I didn't do videos back then like I did here. I barely ever put videos out. Only my yearly predictions. But Spirit told me I had to do this video because I had a visit from the Archangel and from Saint Germain in a meditation prior to teaching one of my master classes back in Pennsylvania back in the day. I would recommend that you go back to that Prince video. I'll try to remember and put a link somewhere up above. Check it out. I got to go back and listen because that was a long time ago. But I remember the purple flame being ignited back at that time period, and Spirit saying similar things, that the archangel Ezekiel, I can't even talk, Ezekiel represents North America, and then the sacred flame of Saint Germain. And if you remember, when Prince passed away, the whole world lit up purple, Niagara Falls and everything. And over in England, it was the same day as the Queen's birthday, so all of England lit up purple. So that brought in the energy. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see some kind of purple light being ignited again, like all of a sudden they light up, I don't know, New York with purple or something else with purple. So folks, keep an eye on that. If you see that anywhere where you live, if they suddenly start lighting up Niagara Falls the same day as somewhere else with purple light, that'll be our validation for sure. So I thought that all happened and was done and gone back after Prince passed away, and that energy came. And if you remember back in that time period, all those things came to light: division, racism, and the environment. And then it all went away very quickly. The dark's very good at extinguishing those lights. They're not going to be so good at it this time. This time, things are going to shift. And as Spirit said, the environment, environmental issues, environmental disasters, unfortunately, including earth disasters. That includes that big earthquake that's going to hit the west coast of the United States, as predicted earlier this year. That's an environmental disaster. And what's going to make it even more of a disaster is when, the earthquake causes ruptures of pipelines and fires, and that's an environmental disaster. So these things are coming to light. So we're going to unfortunately see a lot of oil spills and a lot of things like that. Also, the archangel is all about justice, bringing things to the light. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. And this takes me to Trump and the whole potential that we just bypassed. Well, no doubt, we just bypassed a major civil unrest in the United States and civil war. Exactly what the Obama movie was pushing. Yes, didn't you see the movie Obama's movie was Leave the World Behind. Sorry, I got that backwards. My apologies, Obama, but you're still bad movie. The movie was great, actually. Not Civil War. That was like the worst movie. I give it 0 stars. I actually shut it off. It was so bad. It was such a bad movie, I just turned it off completely. There's no coincidence. It's predictive programming, friends. They put things right in front of your face to desensitize you to events and things that happen. No doubt. That's what they're trying to do. Let's move on and talk a little bit about what happened on Saturday. I'll tell y'all all the time that there are absolutely no coincidences, and they like to put things right in front of our faces. Their entire future plans, whether it's in their paper plans, their agendas, or whether it's in their movies. They being the global elite, starting with the 13 richest families on the planet. All of which hold, of course, Lucifer and Satan very close to their hearts. First, we saw the somewhat concerning movie Leave the World Behind, right? Warning us of what could potentially be happening to the United States in the near future with major cyber attacks, which is in my predictions, going back to 2024 prediction. Spirit warned us of that recently, and even in channel predictions, not to fear when the power goes out. And the power's out for several days. Make sure you're prepped. And this brings me to a thought, because I meant to tell my niece up the canyon, who's at college in Flag, happy birthday, by the way, Hannah, that if the power goes out and you go to use your phone and there's no connection, for her, I would say, get your butt down to my house immediately. For everybody else, I would say, get home immediately. Just get home. And if you're home, lock your doors and just stay cool for the days that the power's out. Everything will pass. Remember what Spirit continuously said in the last channel predictions. This too will pass. Remember that. And being prepared, it won't be so difficult for you. If you're not prepared, it's going to be very difficult for you. And that's where we're going to have people, looting and all kinds of stuff. We can hold in the light that this shifts and changes, because I do believe we do have the power to shift and change certain things, not all things. Now, we also have that movie, again, Leave the World Behind, was directed by Barack Obama. A lot of people don't realize that he had pretty much all the say in telling them how to direct the movie, which direction it should go in. Why does he know so much? I always said he was on the other side of the fence. He wasn't on this side. He wasn't on America's side. Believe what you want, but I've always felt that, and I believe this truth is going to come out, friends. It's going to come out. And then many people, and I like when truth comes out and we can turn and say, told you so. Not crazy after all. Not a conspiracy after all. So this was all followed by the recent movie, of course, Zero. I told you I'd give it 0 stars. The movie Civil War. Don't even waste your time and energy trying to even watch it. So is this predictive programming? Are they predictably programming us for what they want to desensitize Americans from something the evil wishes and plans to bring to the table? One of their evil plans was portrayed in that movie, of course. At least that evil plan hasn't come into fruition, but it almost did over this past weekend. Team Spirit certainly warned us that this was coming. The attempt on Trump's life. Spirit told us that they would fail. And I also saw that he would be hitting the right shoulder. He was hitting the right ear. Pretty darn close. Pretty close. Can't get it much closer than that. And I'd say that right ear, his ears, as you get older, your ears still grow and the tip of your nose still grows. That's why a lot of old people have really big ears, because your earlobes and your nose, tip of your nose, continuously grows in your life. Did you know that? So his ears are pretty big. He's an old guy. What is he, like 77 years old? Yeah, that's not far from your shoulder. What is that, like an inch? And it depends if I'm standing straight, my shoulder's down, and we got about 3 inches to the shoulder. Him, I bet you it's about 2.5 inches to the shoulder. That's pretty close, friends. So many speculations and, of course, conspiracies revolved around this event that took place over the weekend in Butler, Pennsylvania, my home state. Not Butler, though. That's the other side of the state. Starting with the crazy, outlandish claims that people believed and posted. I saw it on social media. Oh, he staged this whole event. Block. It's just ridiculous. It just happened, and people were already assuming that they knew what happened. Already jumping to conclusions. And sorry, conspiracy people that believe that, but you don't stage a bullet whizzing by your ear. There are photographs of the bullet whizzing by his ear, which they say the reason they were able to get that photograph, because if you see it's after it exited his ear, the bullet you see flying there. And they say it's from the blood that was on there that made it appear in the photograph. Now, of course, there'll be those that'll say that photograph's fake. Of course. Some people just don't want to believe anything, especially if they have hatred towards any particular person. It's an outlandish claim. And actually, I'll say it the way Biden would say it. It's a bunch of malarkey. Is that even a word? I only ever heard that word come out of that man's mouth. I never heard malarkey come from anybody's mouth ever before. It's an interesting word, to say the least. And I don't want to disappoint the conspiracy people, but this was not staged on Trump's behalf at all. You know how else I know? You could tell by the energy of him. When that happened, I watched it multiple times. You could see his energy. He actually went into a stage of fear. You could see it in his face. You could feel it in his energy. I'm like surprised that he didn't end up having a mild heart attack or even a severe heart attack after that event. That's traumatic for anybody sitting there. And what about the poor people that didn't make it through? Prayers to them and their families. And there's still, I believe, there were one, of course, taken immediately that day. 2 were critically injured, and I think one of those critically injured is now passed as well. Regardless, prayers to all of them and all the people that were there, because even being there and witnessing such a thing, especially up close, that's pretty traumatic. Pretty traumatic stuff. Not cool at all. It's just unbelievable. And again, we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming, the attempt. It was even in my 2024 predictions. I probably said it years ago. When he first started running, I said it. I don't remember when that was. So first, let us send prayers again to the families of those and all those that were affected, because it's really important. They need our prayers. They all need our prayers. Even Trump himself, whether you like him or not, and even Biden, they all need our prayers, because they are all in danger, no matter what side they are on, but especially Trump's side, obviously. Obviously, they want this man taken down. Now, what I found interesting is the people that say, oh, he's the Antichrist because he dodged the bullet. You don't know prophecy. Go read the prophecy. The Antichrist is not a white dude from America. Just not happening. It's not him. Again, hate to disappoint the ones that believe that, but it's just not the case. So let us just send prayers to all those for this traumatizing event. And I want to go back to the post I did on July 4th of my channeled predictions. Now, I probably did the meditation like July 1st or 2nd and then posted it on the 4th. And Spirit warned us of this window of time. And this is what I said. Beware of the period of July 15th through July 22nd. things will ignite greatly. This ignition will ignite in the United States on 7/11, July 11th. Be prepared. See people awaken. See people change in ways that you would have never even imagined that they would change, including the current leader and those candidates that are up for leadership, including Donald Trump, who Saint Germain will personally ignite a light in him. And we should all be able to see the changes in all of our leaders when those lights are ignited. God will ignite the light with Saint Germain and they will change, or they will be pushed out completely. So it was in early July, probably even my July forecast, that Spirit pointed to the date the 11th first. And this was the entire window leading up to the 25th. So the 11th, 2 days later, we have what happened to Trump and that whole event. And that was the first big event to happen in that window of time. So far, this window, not only we witnessed that, and now we witness all the chaos and all the questions being asked afterwards. A day before this horrific assassination attempt happened, I posted another video. And I posted a video, and I want you to hear what I said. And remember, this was posted the day before the attempt on Donald Trump's life. Check it out. I literally am sitting at a table as if I'm with the mobsters and the mafia. And they show me the papers on the table and it says hit right at the back, top of the paper with Donald Trump's name. And it says won it, Donald Trump, hit. But the papers aren't signed, which means this is on the table. This is part of their plan. And they will make that attempt in doing so. A mafia hit, right? Interesting to say the least. And again, I remind you that was only posted a day before the attempt took place. That was on Friday, and I'm pretty sure I did the meditation on Wednesday. Yeah, it had to be Wednesday. So Wednesday of last week. So that was 3 days before the event actually occurred. In accordance to the message from Spirit, a mafia hit still stays on the table. You know, mafia hits, when they put a hit out on someone, that stays on the table until it's accomplished. So that's still on the table. Spirit told us days before that it's on the table, and days later it happens. But the job wasn't complete. And this concerns me for the former president. It should concern you as well. Mainly for the whole state of the country. Don't want that to happen. Again, whether you like the guy or not. Or otherwise, you're going to regret it if the whole country goes into chaos. And then you don't know how you're going to find your next meal the next day. It was only just a week earlier that Biden claimed and said we need to put him in the bullseye. Is that predictive programming? Predictive programming is pretty tricky. Even though I don't think he realizes what he's saying at all, quite honestly. And I don't even think he realized what he said. Maybe he did. Who knows? So let's rewind to earlier this month and a video I posted again on July 4th where we were told that the light of Saint Germain was going to be ignited and things would change drastically. And here's what Spirit told us about the ignition of Saint Germain's light and what was coming towards the end of this month. And this was for the light of Saint Germain ignites, and Archangel Ezekiel is all about justice. So many will be rounded up. Many will be arrested. It will be shocking to so many. And this will bring through many big breakthroughs when it comes to... Very interesting to say the least. Definitely something happened. Energetically and obviously in the physical realm too. Something definitely happens. The Spirit was on point. And remember, when it comes to Saint Germain and archangels, we can't visually see or validate that, but we can validate it by the events that happen. Now I want you to listen to the most recent prediction that I posted. Outside of an event, maybe the convention or maybe one of these political speaking events. I think I might be at a Trump event maybe, but I see, all the cars come in with the little flag on the car. Secret Service, they all pull in, the crowd backs out of the way. And as they get out of the car, I can't see who's getting out of the car because I'm on the other side of the crowd, but I hear multiple gunshots. And I hear he's been hit. I would believe that this has got to be either Joe Biden or Donald Trump that someone's shooting at as they get out of the vehicle to go into this convention or this speaking engagement. I can't clearly see, but I believe strongly that this is Trump. I see the crowd scatter, but then I see people really concerned. But I don't feel whoever this is, they're hit, but I don't feel this is a complete success in taking this individual out. But again, the date July 17th keeps strongly jumping out at me, so be aware of July 17th. Now, if you listened really carefully, you would have heard the reference to both Ronald Reagan and JFK both. Now, Ronald Reagan and JFK's attempts, well, JFK's was successful, unfortunately. Both of those incidences varied quite a bit. Whereas with JFK, we know now from released papers that there was obviously two shooters. We know it from the experts and so forth. We know there was. We know there was a scapegoat. That's what they do. And we also know the 3-digit agency that begins with the letter C is responsible for JFK. We know this. Even though, Trump was supposed to release those papers, remember, back when he was president? He saw them, and apparently that must have scared him enough not to want to tell anybody what's in those papers. It didn't scare him enough to have Secret Service on top of him on the stage. Notice how long it took them to get up on stage? Like, if that was an actual, not a 20-year-old kid, but a grown man that had great abilities to use a firearm, he would have been taken down multiple times, hit multiple times. It took them forever to get up on that stage. They should be right there behind him on that stage. And he also should have some type of bulletproof glass around him. I know he will now from now on in. That's what also kind of gives me the creeps a little bit, because the next attempt, if we go back again and listen, JFK and Ronald Reagan. Now, I want to show you another clip that I did. This was just from Friday that I posted, talking about an attempt, but this one sounds a little different. So there's a little bit of confusion where I think I'm mixing up two different attempts, to be quite honest with you. Give a listen. I have a vision, and I see him pulling up with his cars, with the long black car with the flags in the front. As he's being escorted out of the back of the car, I hear 3 shots being fired. I see him grab his shoulder as they jump on him to protect him. He takes a hit in the right shoulder. He holds his shoulder. I see him come to the hospital window with his thumbs up in the air. All is well. This is a reflection of what happened to Ronald Reagan in the 1980s. You will see the correlation between the two events and how similar they are, including how similar this coming assassination attempt will be to that of John F. Kennedy. This will actually help to bring out more truth to John F. Kennedy's passing as well. Be prepared. So many things. Full disclosure. IMO, in my opinion, I believe that paints a very clear picture of another future event coming Trump's way. Something big. Police used the same building. Did you know? They used the same building to practice. They do this practice simulation. That's the word I'm looking for. And they did a simulation with a gunman climbing on the same roof in their simulation. Were they simulating that, or were they simulating what they were staging to happen? That's the question. A staging that becomes a reality, or a simulation that became a reality. Exactly what they simulated is exactly what happened. That's a big question right there, friends. Don't you think that? Like, huge question. You simulated that exact scenario. And you had nobody guarding the roof, and you had a ladder right there easily for somebody to climb up. Like, you put that ladder there for them to climb up. Just saying. Friends. So I wanted you to check out this report from ABC News. And keep in mind that this is from mainstream media, friends. Mainstream media is saying this.
Video tonight showing the moment Donald Trump's would-be assassin climbed onto the roof of that building just 2 minutes before he opened fire. Yeah, look, there he is. You can hear bystanders desperately trying to alert police. Authorities now using that video as part of the investigation. And tonight, ABC News has learned that heavily armed local police were stationed inside that building and missed Thomas Crooks climbing up the outside of the building to the roof. The same building was being used as a staging area for local police, according to 2 law enforcement officials. And Butler Township officials are confirming ABC News' reporting that a local police officer climbed up the roof and confronted Brooks moments before the shooting. The officer grabbed hold of the edge of the building, pulled himself up to be able to look, and according to what he's told me, shooter turned, rifle was pointed at the officer. The officer, defensive move, kind of ducked, fell, lost his grip on the building. Investigators tonight trying to determine whether roof access had been properly locked down. The shooter climbing seemingly unimpeded, about 400 feet from the stage, with a direct line of sight on the former president.
Something very fishy is going on here, friends, and I think we all smell that fish, no matter where at on the planet you may be. And that fish is starting to rot away. We can smell the rats crawling on there, too. Lots of rats, lots of fishy circumstances. The officer confronted him, ducked for cover, but never radioed in that there was a shooter on the roof? You should have radioed in before you went on the roof to check. One thing you may not know is I was a police cadet right out of high school. And then I saw the scene of a bad incident, and that was it for me. I wanted to be a homicide detective, actually, which I would have been darn good at because as a psychic medium, I've solved several cases, including a cold case from 1969. I've been good at it, but I couldn't tolerate the gore after seeing something happen. I'm not even going to go into the details, but a little information about myself for you. So something really obviously is fishy here. And when I was a police cadet in a situation like that, because I actually potentially strongly prevented General Westmoreland from being taken out during an event in Bristol Township, Pennsylvania, when they were doing a memorial for the Vietnam vets. This was in, say, 1987, 1988. And we were covering the parking area. We didn't have guns. We were cadets. And I saw the guy get out of the car, get into a trunk, and I heard him cock the pistol. And I ran to the nearest cop with a gun and told him, I was like, yo, and that guy just put a piece in his coat jacket. And let me tell you, they can't, and there were snipers on the roof because General Westmoreland was in charge of the Vietnam conflict. And people didn't want him, don't like him. I think he might be gone by now, probably gone by now, I would imagine. There were snipers on the roof of the police building where this was all happening because of the threats to his life. And when I, radioed right away, or I didn't radio, I ran right up to the nearest cop because he was like right there. I'm like, oh, that dude's got something in his jacket. Are you sure? I'm like 100%. They tackled him, and you think they'd say thank you to me because they tackled him. I was right. They arrested him, so forth. The whole point of the matter is there should be people all over the place, even cadets, observing. If they're observing and somebody is walking around those buildings like they should have been, not only walking around the buildings or standing cover around the building, but on top of the building. Friends, that's the part that was staged. Trump didn't do this himself. You can tell by the fear in his eyes. You can tell total change around in his energy if you saw him show up at the RNC yesterday. His energy completely changed. No doubt about it. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes from this point forward. So now, absolutely, without a doubt, they could have and should have. This whole event should have and could have never happened at all whatsoever. And anyone in their right minds should be able at this point to see right through this whole thing. Use your third eye, friends. You should be able to see right through this whole thing. And I remind you of the technologies and methods used by organizations like the 3 letters, the one with the C. The technologies with patents that I shared with you before. They have patents that can literally, on technology, that they can put voices in your head. And you can be at a dinner table with 20 people, and they can pick one person at that table and do that to, and pinpoint voices in your head. I showed you the technology. It exists. And the government are the ones that have the patents on this technology. Just saying, just something that popped in my mind that I figured I'd bring up because we talked about that earlier this year with these technologies. So that can direct voices into their minds, and there's other technology they have as well, of course. So they can use any of these methods of technology. And Spirit says that there was technology of some sort that was used on the perpetrator also through online communications. In Butler that morning of the event, they used some type of technology. That's what Spirit showed me. So I don't know whether it was the voices in the head. I don't know what kind of technology, but we can easily figure it out. It's not rocket science. That something was used. And there was somebody else. There was something else. This wasn't, they say they always say that, the lone gunman. They said that about JFK. And we know for a fact that wasn't the case. And even, what's his name? I just drew a blank. But the person that allegedly shot JFK even said, I'm innocent, I'm the scapegoat, I didn't do this. He even said it himself. I know people don't believe it because they automatically make you out in the media to be a criminal, and everybody jumps aboard with that. Most people, not everybody. So I'm also concerned that no one is making mention of the water tower. You know about the water tower that was right there, which would give a sniper the best position ever to target the former president. First, here's a picture of how close this came to his head. Look at this picture. I mean, so close. If he would have turned his head just a little bit more, and you can't tell me that there was some type of intervention. I say divine intervention. Others will maybe say dark intervention. You can call it what you want, but there was intervention, 100%. And again, this prevented America from going into civil unrest. And now this is a picture of the area, and you see where the water tower is in comparison to the rooftop and where Trump spoke. Now we have a picture sort of like the historic photo of 9/11. This photo here is going to go down in history like the 9/11 picture with the firefighters pushing up the flag. It's sort of kind of like that with the flag perfectly. And this picture kind of looks like it could have been staged. It wasn't staged, obviously. People believe it was. Of course they do. This is going to be on T-shirts, millions of T-shirts all over the world in the near future. You'll see. All right, I guarantee you that. But let's go back to the water tower. First and foremost, why wasn't there a Secret Service sniper on the water tower? It was the best view of the whole entire place and the highest view. And nobody would have got past with snipers, 3 snipers on that tower, 3 lookouts on that tower. Why didn't they use that tower? Perhaps that tower was already being used for other purposes, if you know what I mean. It just seems all very, very strange, friends. The whole thing. How long it took Secret Service to get on stage. How long it took one of those Secret Service agents to holster her weapon. Did you see that all stumbling? Which I get it. That's a frantic moment. And folks don't understand that because if you weren't there or weren't in a situation like that, that is a frantic moment of chaos. So yeah, you're totally discombobulated. No doubt about it. But still, a Secret Service agent should be trained for such situations. And you should be able to get your gun right into your holster. And you should have been on top of that stage before, like, immediately. And the cop that supposedly went up on the ladder and slipped, he conveniently slipped, but he didn't radio it in at all. And I mean, I get it, slipping and falling if somebody points something at your head. Yeah, I totally get it. And perhaps that probably did happen. But still, why would you not call it in before even going up? A police officer calls things in. Hey, there's a guy on the roof. I'm going to go check it out. Right? That's what a police officer does. I mean, I know that much from being a cadet. Always call it in. You always tell them where you're at and where you're going and what's going on. Too many things here, friends. And the sad thing is the truth will come out, but I'm sure it'll be a few years before it does all come out. But it's going to come out. Remember what Spirit said about major arrests and such? So much is going to happen. So much. So do you think this is going to change Trump in any way? This event? I mean, it could change anybody. Especially if you go out thinking that you're kind of invincible, you're well protected, and then that happens. And, like, you technically shouldn't be here right now. That was supposed to be successful. Supposed to be. But again, some type of intervention definitely happened on Saturday, the 13th. That 13 is my lucky number personally, but that 13. So whether you like the man or not, again, doesn't matter. This was absolutely an unacceptable thing to happen. And those sick-minded folks who wish harm on anybody whatsoever, shame on you. It's bad karma, friends. Bad karma. Not only that, United States was on the edge and still is on the edge of civil chaos. And I do see that coming. It's coming regardless. But what level is it coming? Is it going to be the level of civil war, or is it just going to be the level of civil unrest? Which are kind of similar, but not. And so this brings me back to the point Spirit reminds me of showing us that there was going to be a separation of states. And remember, I saw a star falling off the flag of the United States, and we still are waiting to see what that's all about. Some of us thought that maybe that's Texas stepping out. So it could be something else, though. Could also be, related to California and what's going to happen there. And you got to go back to all my other channel predictions and my recent predictions, because there's lots of events coming our way. And I'll likely do another channeled information video with predictions for next week. Tomorrow, you're not going to want to miss the premiere of my weather prediction video. I do 3 steps in that weather prediction video. I do channeled predictions on the weather. I do map scrying and other predictions. You're not going to want to miss it. That premieres here tomorrow. If I remember, I'll try to show you a little clip at the end of today of what the weather predictions are looking like for tomorrow's premiere. Going back to, do you think this is going to change Trump? I have no doubt it's going to change him. It could change anybody. Anybody that happens to it's going to change. Mainly because of what Spirit again told us about the sacred flame of Saint Germain. So give a listen.
Had changed him. I don't like to think about that, he told me, but yes, I think it has had an impact. Trump told me he has seen the Doug Mills photograph of the bullet flying right by him and marveled that if he had turned his head, if the bullet had been just a half inch or even a quarter inch closer, he could have been killed. And Trump told me that in the wake of the shooting, he has completely rewritten his convention address, saying he had written a humdinger, but now it'll be more of a unity speech.
Overall, the answer is yes when we say United States could have been less than an inch away from civil unrest and conflict with our nation. Thankfully, this is not turned out to be the case. It's been diverted and will continue to be diverted for now. But let me show you what Spirit said about the global psychopaths. The dark overlords want nothing more than to cause a major conflict for the United States, to disrupt the country as much as they can before the elections take place, in order to actually delay the elections completely. Part of this is coming from the dark ones that reside around the White House already. There is no doubt that the United States was less than an inch away from not only civil unrest, but conflict and civil war in our nation. It was very strongly potential. Thankfully, for now, we have diverted that, and hopefully we continue to divert that in the future as well. Now, I want you to talk about the global psychopaths for a minute, and I want you to see what Spirit said. Will there be justice? Because I know that's a big question for everybody. Do you think there's going to be justice? And how is this going to change everything? Because Spirit did tell us back on July 4th and July 12th both that this is going to change everything. I can tell you one thing for sure. I saw online people saying that they were originally on the opposite side and now they're on Trump's side. I find that to be very interesting. Because people are waking up, Spirit told us. People will start to see the light and see the members of the deep state very, very clearly. If we go back to my July forecast and predictions for the month of July, you'll remember Spirit telling us that the emotions with people, and not even that, even the numerology and astrology all talk about the emotions of people beginning to run wild as we get to the end of July, but even more so in the month of August. Now, if this attempt on Trump happened in the month of August, and he's still the whole same scenario, same event, everything happened in August, then yeah, there'd already be some type of civil unrest going on. There'd be a lot of angry people because the energy and of the emotions are ignited higher. So luckily, it shouldn't have happened at all. But being as it did, the timing, of course, everything's about divine perfect timing and shifting and changing things. No coincidence that Spirit said that that light of Saint Germain and all was coming on the 11th and the 15th. And we're here. It's flowing in. So I tell you, friends, when it comes to events that are coming in the near future, do not overreact. We want peace. We don't want conflict. We want everybody to get along. And if you don't feel like you're going to be able to do that, then stay home. Go watch something on your computer or something. Don't react to the ignorant comments that you're going to see, because you're going to see they do that on purpose too with their bots. Anything. Just don't let it ignite your emotions. Let it go. let it go, let it go, and delete them from your brain or from your social media or wherever you need to. Block them if you have to, just as long as it's not affecting your emotions. Because people say the darndest things, and they talk out, my mama said, they talk out a paper butthole. That's what my mama would say. Anyway, I saw visions of another attempt. I was actually in the shower this morning, and Martin Luther King and that whole incident came to my mind, and strongly. And I said, like, what's this about, Spirit? And Spirit says we're going to see another Martin Luther King type of assassination. I'm like, what does that mean exactly? I didn't get an answer. So then I had to, analyze. The first person that popped in my mind was Joel Osteen. Joel Osteen. So I believe strongly that there is going to be an assassination attempt on Joel Osteen. So Joel Osteen, be aware. I'm sure you got security. You're a multimillionaire. You make tons of money off your people. Shame on you for that, by the way. If not Joel Osteen, then some other religious leader, and I'm not up to par with all of them. Oh, actually, it could even be the Pope. No, it won't be the Pope. Pope will go naturally. So I don't know who else is up there that's big like Joel Osteen, but we know that remember I said there was going to be a Pow Pow event in a big stadium or whatever, and that happened at a Joel Osteen event already. So if not him, then somebody else. Not only that, I'm getting this strong feeling that we're going to see, again, we know Christians are being targeted. We know the darkness wants to take out religion and Christianity more than anything. So we're going to see sad attempts and pow-pow type events occurring in churches, church events, and religious events. Mainly Christian events, but there's also the plot or agenda to divide religions even more. So I would say also on mosques and what's the other one? Synagogues, those places. And Spirit told us that in the past, but this is igniting. And we're going to see this coming up maybe this month, but definitely in the month of August. Yeah, I thought there was more to that. So that type. And now here's the other one that I feel like is in danger. Now, again, if we go back, I saw a Ronald Reagan type of an assassination attempt as well. Ronald Reagan was getting out of the car, just like I showed you, you listened to earlier in my past channel predictions, and shot in the right shoulder. Oh, I don't know if Reagan was the right or the left, but he was shot in the shoulder. I remember that very clearly. I think I was in high school when that happened. I might have even been in middle school, actually, come to think of it. I think I was in middle school, because I think that was the early 80s. Regardless, I believe I was twisting two different visions together as one. Or I'm saying, again, mixing up two different attempts. And I have no doubt that they will continue to attempt to go after Trump. I also see a vehicle that almost matches the vehicles you see the Secret Service and all in with their black SUVs and such. And I see one being thrusting towards, I don't know if it's the building or but thrusting forward, and it's loaded with boom boom, big boom boom. This could have something to do with maybe not the RNC, but the DNC, because of course they're going to try to make it look like extremists that are supporters of Donald, and they're going to remember what Spirit said, 3 flags would fly ever so falsely. Some folks thought that was what happened on Saturday. No, that was no flag flying ever so falsely, for sure. So we got to expect these to come up. And remember, don't read into it when it happens right away. Don't believe what the mass media puts out to you right away, that such and such invaded this or whatever. Don't believe it, Spirit says. Be aware. There's a lot of tricky things coming up. But I do strongly feel that these tricky moves and these deceptions that they're going to try to pull on us over the next few months and over the next year, even into next year, 2025, that they're going to have, again, technical difficulties that are going to screw up their plan. So we hold that in the light, friends, where people actually find out, oh, wow, they just tried to trick us. And they tricked some people, but they didn't trick us all. I think that has to do with the Sky event that's coming up. Also, another thing that popped up on me earlier today is, in the shower too, is I kept seeing Edward Snowden. And then it made me think of Julian Assange, who finally got released. So I'm going to say that I believe Edward Snowden because I see him coming to the United States. Like, I don't know if he's coming to visit, but he's coming, probably to stay back, coming back to the United States. But I see him coming to the United States, and I believe he's likely going to be pardoned, probably next year when new power steps into place. I also see something big blowing up in both with the Republicans and with the Democrats. See, you know, it's like sports teams. You know, they want you to pick a team. They want you to pick a team and hate the other team. That's what they want. That's what they, the global elite, that's why they set everything up the way they have. Division, friends, to divide you. What people aren't recognizing is there's evil under both parties. There's corruption under both parties. It doesn't matter. And this is what I feel is about to blow, friends. The corruption on both parties, both sides. We ain't seen nothing yet. Something big's going to blow, and I feel like something big could blow during this RNC. And I feel like there's something changing around. Well, we know there's going to be a big change with the Biden administration. They're going to push him out if they have to. Remember what Spirit said, manipulating his medicines and medications, which is so awful. What an awful thing to do. You know, whether you like Biden or not, I don't care for the man, but that's an awful thing to do. What a horrible thing to do, especially to our leader. You know, they'll do anything to keep things the way they want them to go. The great thing is with this retrograde coming up, causes technical issues and causes things, you know, motorized and electronics to break down. So if they try to pull off one of their events using their, you know, technology, chances are there's a big chance that their technology could fail. Big time. Backfire on them. Just like I'm hoping and feeling that's going to be the case with some of this upcoming events. Another thing that's going to be the case is the CIA and other three-letter agencies. Remember Spirit telling us, this might have been last year or earlier this year, that the three-letter agencies, FBI, CIA, all of them, and even NASA, are going to be put under a microscope, and so much corruption and changes are going to come to these agencies and their deep secrets. Well, after all this past weekend's event, I would hope so. I would definitely hope so, because there's definitely, the CIA is definitely being put under a microscope right now. And the leader of the CIA, who really it falls back on her, did an interview. I'm not even going to waste your time playing any of it, but refuses to resign. And to me, she shouldn't even have to resign. She should have been fired already. If that all comes back to you and you're the one in charge, you should be fired. Actually, almost everybody there that day on Saturday should be fired. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that such a thing could happen. But, you know, that's how deep the dark, deep state. That's why they call it the deep state. Because it's so deep within our system, so corrupt within our system that you have police not doing their jobs, probably because they don't like them. So they'll say, oh, yeah, okay, I'll ignore the ladder that's over there that the guy's walking up right now. 2 minutes. You saw the video. 2 minutes they had to respond. And apparently from what's coming in reports now, and again, we can't jump to conclusions. There's still a lot of information yet to come out about this. They say that he was seen like 27 minutes before it, going up towards the roof. Nobody did anything. And you've seen the video of people yelling, gunman on the roof. He's on the roof. Oh, what? Says the cop. Oh, what? Delaying it. Almost like he was purposely delaying. Oh, where, huh? Yeah, crazy. So what's going to happen with these three-letter organizations is they are going to change, and I could see them falling. When they fall, and that's what Spirit shows me a vision of, their letters falling, FBI, CIA, falling from the sky, crashing to the ground, and then they change. So, like, I see, like, what do you call it? The different writing, the font of the letters that Spirit shows me. The font looks one way when it's falling, and when it crashes to the ground, it reforms, and it's a different font. It's a little fancier of a font. So I'm going to say, yeah, the big changes in those organizations, weeding out the corruption, weeding out the deep state. It'll be interesting. And yeah, many jobs will fall. Many, many jobs, including the current leader of the CIA. She will not be there much longer. She's not going to make it into 2025. She'll be gone, if not before that. Earlier this year, Richard Simmons was in my list of folks that I felt were going to pass away in 2024. Richard was, his birthday was July 12th, maybe? I forget what day. It was last week, though. And he passed away the day after. So, yeah, I think his birthday was the 12th, and he passed away on the 13th. Yeah, that's correct, because he's in his 9 personal year in numerology. I told you about that 9 vibration and people passing away in the 9 or in the 4. Queen Elizabeth was the 4. Lots of people passing their 9. Richard Simmons came to my mind when I was doing my yearly predictions. I looked up his numbers. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's definitely going to pass in 2024, and he did. So did Shannon Doherty. From 90210, passed from breast cancer, years battle of breast cancer. Now, you know, every disease and every health issue has a very specific, deep-rooted emotional cause, in accordance to Louise Hay in the book, You Can Heal Your Life. So ladies out there, and I know there's a lot of ladies here, breast issues, not cancer, that's different, but breast issues is refusal to nurture thyself, putting everyone else first, over-mothering, over-protecting, and overbearing attitudes. If you know anybody that had breast issues in their life, that fits them completely. Now, the big C, that's a different emotional cause. That is deep secrets and grief, eating away at thyself, carrying hatreds. What's the use? So you got to put both those causes together. But I thought Shannon was, and you know, she had a bad rap. People said she was an awful person. I don't believe everything I read. And now knowing that she was fighting that disease, that tells me that she refused to nurture herself, put everybody else first, over-mothered, over-protecting, and overbearing attitudes. So I don't believe any of the rumors, really, that they said about her back in the day. And, you know, being that she was fighting that disease, yeah, that'd make you a little cranky, I'd say. I'd be a little cranky if I was fighting the big C. Now, Clint Eastwood came to my mind very strongly. And I believe October of this year, perhaps sooner, we're going to be hearing about Clint Eastwood potentially hospitalized. And I feel that Clint Eastwood's time with us is also going to come to a close. I looked up his numbers. I forget when his birthday is, but I did look it up. And I do know that 2025 is Clint Eastwood's 9 year of endings. So Clint Eastwood is not going to make it into 2026. I think his birthday maybe is May. Oh, I forget now. But regardless, and this takes me to the point of people passing right around their birthdays. What is that all about? But let me go back to Clint Eastwood. He's in his 9 year next year, so I don't feel like he's going to make it to 2026. And we may even see Clint Eastwood pass before his birthday is in May. Between now, today is July 16th. So between now, July 16th, 2024, and May of 2025, Clint Eastwood will pass away. I like him. And what is it with people passing around their birthdays? I had a friend that passed the day before his birthday. I know a lot of people that pass right before their birthdays, usually within days or a week or 2 weeks at the most. Some people make it to the day after their birthday, like Richard Simmons did, day after his birthday. So at least he got to celebrate one last birthday. But I also see a lot of times, if you can walk through the cemetery and see this too, because I used to always go to the cemeteries when we were younger. And you would see a lot of times the same birthday on the same date of the passing. Really wild. Do that sometime. Walk around the cemetery and take notice to the date of birth and the date of passings and how close they correlate with each other. The conclusion that I have come to is that when it comes to your soul contracts, we have lots of them. We have filing cabinets filled with contracts and agreements that we come into this life with. And they can change and shift, depending on what path and what filing cabinets and lessons are on that path. We can always shift our path and change things, and hopefully for the better. That's up to us. That's part of our mission here. Everything is based on the astrological calendar. Not the calendar we follow here on Earth, because that calendar is fake, by the way. It was invented by Pope Gregory II to relate pagan holidays to Catholic holidays. Do your research. So that's not even the real calendar. Not even the calendar they used before that on Earth. The real calendar is the astrological calendar. Your birthday is the most powerful day of the year. Everything goes in your soul contracts from your birthday till the day before your next birthday. So therefore, like my one friend passing the day before his birthday, it made so much sense because your birthday starts a new year. So it's interesting that Richard Simmons got a couple days, into his new year. But that's one of the reasons I find that if your soul contracts are coming to an end, they usually end around your birthday, when you're done on this planet and you're going to exit. Just thought that was interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I also want to know what you think about Mexico and Mexico's new president. He just placed a ban on the United States. Are you aware of what he placed a ban on? They are now banning imports of corn. Now, Mexicans eat a lot of corn, just like the indigenous natives of North America. And I don't know about other countries, but I know like the Hopi and all, they make lots of stuff out of corn. The Hopi are the only ones that still have the original heirloom blue corn. I got to go visit Hopi land as soon as it gets a little cooler out. See if they sell it, because I'd like to grow some next year in my garden. It's the oldest corn on the planet, the Hopi's blue corn. It's good, too. I've had it. I've gone to Hopi land, and they invited me right into their house for dinner. Amazing people. That's why they say Hopi. It means good friend or something like that. Yeah, they are awesome. Amazing people. Had a really good time there. That's why I got to go back. So, yeah, they're banning corn imports from America. Why? Because all America's corn is genetically modified. And they don't want genetically modified garbage in their country anymore. And they have 47 varieties of corn in Mexico. That's a lot. It's kind of like potatoes in Peru. There's like 100 different varieties of potatoes in Peru. Peru is one of the biggest potato importers. They were all over the ground when I was in Peru. It was wild. They feed their dogs potatoes, which isn't good. Their dogs are very skinny. Like, your dogs need meat. They need protein. Potatoes just ain't going to do it. But that's what they do. They feed their dogs potatoes. It's interesting. Corn. They're banning it. And the Mexicans and the natives, they have corn tortillas and corn tacos and corn and this and corn that and corn chowder. And they use a lot of corn in their food. I say kudos, thumbs up to the Mexican president for putting a ban on GMO, genetically modified corn. I look forward to that happening in the future for all of us. But, Monsanto, who controls all that, isn't going to let their corn go. You know what they do to the farmers, right? You have to buy the corn off of them, off of that company. And if you stop and you decide to buy it off of someone else, or say you decide to do what I do, dry out the corn and make your own seeds. Why would you buy seeds? You can go to the grocery store, get a pepper, take out the seeds, dry them out, and grow your own peppers. They aren't allowed to do that, because what happens is the seed company comes in the next year and will do genetic testing on the corn. And if it's their corn, they'll sue you, even though you did the seeds yourself. It's a scam, friends. What they do to the farmers is a scam. That's all about the change too, Spirit just said. Kudos to the farmers. And again, kudos to Mexico for standing up. This is going to also cut out a lot of money for the United States. This is a big dent. Corn. Remember, Spirit told us that. I just remembered that a couple years ago. Invest in corn. Remember, Spirit said that? Invest in corn. Well, I wouldn't invest in corn right now, though. Not after what Mexico did, because I bet you they got a large percentage of corn from the United States. Now they're not getting any. They're going to do all their own corn. So in the future, I think I'm going to be going to Mexico to get my corn. Well, actually, I'll just go. I got corn growing in my backyard. I can't remember if I bought heirloom. I think I did buy heirloom corn. I really want the Hopi blue corn, though. Next year, next season. Let's move on to plagues and outbreaks. Because it was a while back, perhaps 2022, 2023 world predictions, that Spirit warned that there would be a return of the Black Plague. And friends, the Black Plague has returned. It returned in Colorado, United States, to be exact. And I didn't pull up the news article. I totally forgot to do that. You can pull it up for yourself. But this is just going back to a past prediction that was concerning, because you think, the bubonic plague has been gone forever, right? Since it wiped out Europe. And Spirit said it was coming back. Well, it's back, friends. Luckily, my strong feeling on this is it isn't going to be as effective as it was back in Europe back in the day, during the medieval period or whatever that was. So that's not going to affect them, thankfully. What I am concerned about, Spirit makes me feel, is the concerns of the globalists playing around with bugs and viruses that they should not be playing around with at all, but they are. And you know how they've been pushing this N1, what is it? N1H1 bird flu. And now I just read an article yesterday, 3 people contacted the bird flu. And it hasn't taken anybody's life. It's kind of like just a flu. Kind of like the other thing back in 2020. It's just a flu. A really bad one, but it's a flu. Or a bad cold, or whatever you want to call it. I think they're probably different viruses or bugs. I'm not an expert. And we are not doing medical advice here, of course. So my feeling is, yeah, they're still going to push this. They're working out a plan to do something with that N1H1 and to launch something big around fear and around that in the month of October. We should start to hear about it in August. They'll start pumping that fear out in August. Remember, August emotions run wild. Now, if we know this, we know the elite know this too, and they probably know even more about it than we do. So, of course, they're going to push things out to feed your emotions. Of course, they're going to do that. So remember Spirit saying, don't let your emotions run wild. And don't, think before you do react. Think, breathe, relax. Remember to stay grounded, to pray, to meditate. All these things will benefit you. And again, to be stocked up on everything. Things are happening. My feeling is that there will be a potential pushed outbreak. But Spirit makes me feel, don't fear it. Don't worry about it right now. It's not something we need to be concerned about at the moment. I'm feeling that 2026, 2027 would be a time to keep an eye on. And we're not going to jump that far into the future because we have enough going on in the world right now. Like things in our skies, for example. Remember earlier in today's broadcast, I mentioned that the full moon coming in on the 21st is going to ignite paranormal activities that are going to heighten, including sky events as well. So rewind to my channel predictions, I believe, from maybe the July 4th one I put out. I didn't get a clip of that. I totally forgot to put that clip in here for you. But it might have even been back in June that I saw a vision of a large spacecraft flying over a city that looked to me to be miles wide. It looked like something out of the movie Independence Day, to be quite honest with you. So overall, last year in November's channeled predictions, I stated that people would come out. If you remember, I remember saying this in my meditation, that people come out of their homes and gather in the streets to see the spectacle that's happening in the skies, and that it would happen and be seen in many places. So I feel like this is a couple different things that are happening, friends. I feel this is very much approaching for two reasons. First, because Spirit says to keep our eyes open for this paranormal activity and events in the skies kicking off on the full moon. Maybe even something happening around the full moon. I would likely expect there to be quite a few interesting videos put out after the full moon of things caught on the moon or around the moon. Around the full moon. That'll be interesting. That just came to me now. So we'll have to keep our eyes open for that. So that's the first reason, because Spirit said that, and these energies are coming in on the full moon. Not only that, again, the vibration of August is the 7 vibration. The 7 vibration's all about shifting our beliefs and seeing things completely different. They want you to see things different. That's why last year in my 2023 predictions, I told you that was going to happen with UFOs and aliens, and it did. The Vegas aliens, the Florida aliens, and all kinds of UFO. Look at all the whistleblowers that were put out last year. That was all put out on purpose to shift your beliefs, along with the Pope telling you the hell doesn't exist. It is all to shift you into believing that this evil is in here, and it is. Anything to trick you, including what they're going to trick us with in the skies in the near future. Well, they're not going to trick me because I'm going to know. Hopefully they won't trick you because you'll remember me telling you. And you'll tell your neighbors and you'll tell your friends not to jump into panic and not to worry about it. Really, really important. Really important. So again, August being that 7 vibration, I have no doubt that they're going to pull a huge fake UFO or alien event in the month of August. I'm willing to guarantee it because of the 7 vibration, the retrograde, the energy shift, the solar flares that are going to come in August. And make sure that when I put out my August predictions forecast, you're going to want to listen to that one. That might, besides October, those 2 months will probably be the most important months of 2024 and the most important forecast and predictions. So if you're new here, again, welcome to the tribe. I'm glad that you are here to vibe with us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, the bell, the all, so you get notifications. And no, I am here every Tuesday. Sometimes there's a glitch, especially with retrograde coming up. I would expect it to happen. And sometimes I don't show up till Wednesday, but I do show up each and every week. And if I don't, I'll post it on social media. But for 126 episodes in a row, I only missed one, and that was maybe episode 15 or something. That was years ago. I don't plan on missing any in the near future. It's not on my list of plans. Spirit said that things are going to get ramped up and an acceleration in time and space is happening, meaning that events are going to speed up. And we were just told that earlier this month or on Friday, one of those two. The global elite psychopaths, of course, are getting extremely desperate. They are filled with anger right now, especially after their plans on Trump failed terribly over the weekend. And it also awoken a lot of people. That event awoken people on a different level. Was it the event or was it St. Germain's Sacred Purple Flame? That's more like it. Regardless, it's definitely awoken people on a different level. And there's many more awakenings coming. And what it awoken people to is that there's evil agendas out there in the world. And that people want to wish harm on others, especially others that could potentially change things potentially for the better. We got to hold that in the light too. I want to point out another one of these cards. I don't want to say it. And this one is of a supernova. A supernova. Now, I don't know if this is true because I didn't get time to look it up because we're too overwhelmed with what happened over the weekend. I saw a video short of someone claiming that they're telling us now that there's going to be a supernova around September. First and foremost, how do you know? How would you even know that? You wouldn't know that. There ain't no way you would know that. It's impossible. So is it going to be an event that they pull off? This could be the event, one of the events they're pulling off to test. Oh, it is. Okay, Spirit says it is, to test their technologies. That's going to be the first test. So I would think then the UFO thing might not be until October. That would make sense, though, with the numbers, because October's a 9 vibration. August is a 7 vibration. We'll have to wait and see. But the supernova card. And how would they know that? Again, so-called supernova that we're being told that is going to be seen from the skies, especially friends in Florida, is what the video said that I watched. Now, again, how the heck would they even know this? They wouldn't know this unless they have some kind of great connection to the spirit world like we do here. And they do, I'm sure. I have this very strong feeling that something very fake and very big is coming. Something that will appear to be very real to others. Again, shifting people's beliefs. So to let us all hold in the light very, very strongly that it backfires on them. Whatever it is, it backfires on them. And people's beliefs shift to the next level of awakening, which is what I really believe is going to end up happening. And then they want to attempt to use their technologies and our skies to fool the masses. And it does not work. Spirit said it. I actually put it in my notes. They screw up, and instead the world catches on to the existence of these psychopaths. Oh, lovely. Remember my past predictions about dams bursting? Oh, damn. I'm no dam expert, but I told you that the dams were going to burst. Well, this was just put out today. Residents in Illinois, our friends in Illinois. I thought I had this open. I think I do have it open somewhere. There it is. Residents told to evacuate now due to an imminent dam failure in Illinois City. That's huge, Illinois City. Residents in a city in southern Illinois was ordered Tuesday to evacuate now because the dam for the city's reservoir can fail at any moment. Oh, it will, says the spirits. And they better barricade it quickly. In a social media statement issued Tuesday, the Washington County Emergency Management Agency said, attention, the failure of the Nashville Dam is imminent. Please evacuate your home at this time. That's just sad. Imminent, which means it's going to happen. And we know it is because Spirit showed us visions of dams breaking. So that's one of them. Many more to come. Now, I want to also go back to Teatime episode number 122. Somebody mentioned this in the comments, so thank you for that. When people leave timestamps of things I said in past predictions, it really helps us out here. It helps me out a lot, actually. So on episode number 122, I said the following about Texas. In the same episode, I also said something about Costa Rica. Both of these events came true in July. Check it out. Well, I'm seeing another vision of floods and rescues in streets looking like rivers in Texas. This time I feel like I'm closer to, again, the Gulf Coast, like Houston. So be aware, friends in Texas and other places that Spirit mentioned already and mentions today. I say get your life preservers, get your lifeboats, and get your lifesavers all ready to go, just in case. I got pulled to an earthquake between Costa Rica and Cuba and the Dominican Republic. I was like stuck between them. If I had to pick one of the three, I'm going to say Costa Rica. In that Costa Rica prediction, I stated that it felt big and structures falling. I don't think that it was that big in Costa Rica. The one they just had, I think it was a 5.4. And I don't know, maybe it did cause damage, but I feel like that whole area is still extremely vulnerable, and the small ones lead to much bigger ones in the future, according to Spirit. And then Texas and our friends in Texas in that vision, I've had visions, and that video was from back in June. These events all took place in July, the floods, the hurricane, all that in Texas, and then Costa Rica earthquake. I feel like Texas, of course, as I've been saying for a long time, is extremely vulnerable for many attacks from the weather and other things that are coming your way. Remember, Spirit reminds me of my vision in my channel video of military lining up at the southern border. So Texas has got that heading their way too, which is a good thing. Actually, I feel like that's a good thing more than anything. Hopefully they're not lining up for conflict and they're lining up just for protection. That's what we need to hold in the light. I thought that was really interesting. And someone also said another one of your predictions came true for Chicago and the surrounding areas. There were reports of 10 to 12 tornadoes touching down yesterday on July 15th. There are so many power outages and damages here. So prayers to our friends in Chicago. Chicago, I told you, is going to get hit hard. I don't remember that completely. I get a lot of predictions, a lot of information from Spirit. I do remember saying something about tornadoes near a city, and Chicago is a big city. So thank you for putting that in the comments and letting us know, because sometimes, we can't cover every story or don't know what's happening everywhere. So it's good when you help to validate things that were said in the past. Really important. Let me show you a couple other cards here that I thought were interesting. Of course, there's a hurricane card. Not that that's any coincidence. There's hurricanes all the time. Well, when it comes to these cards appear to be events that they can plan. They can use these things to their advantage, like they did with this one, the Pentagon back in the day. But here's another one I thought was really, really interesting, because Spirit just said on Friday that there would be some major event and a benefit concert. And I came across this card for the benefit concert. Spirit told us that on Friday's meditation. Another one I thought, look, the lab explosion. But this is the one I thought was interesting. The second bullet. What does that mean exactly? The second bullet. Meaning they missed the first time, so now there's a second one? Because you could see the miss behind the person in the photograph hitting the wall, and then the crosshairs on that person directly. Now, of course, that person doesn't look anything like DT. I don't know who that may look like. Maybe you might know who it looks like. I'm going to say, that's what happened. Wasn't there multiple shots with Kennedy? I'm pretty sure there were. At least two. I know that. There might have even been more than that. So it just I saw this card and it just jumped out at me, and I just kind of wanted to just share it with you. But I say, I'm with this card right here. Power to the people, friends. Power to the people. Because we have the power. But this is the other one that jumped out at me. Killer satellite. And Spirit gave me this feeling that satellites are being used or are going to be used to manipulate the vibrations around us in big cities. I don't know exactly what that means, friends. But Spirit says again that a secret satellite is going to be used to manipulate the energies around the cities. So I would say this might be something that ignites more anger purposefully. That's why Spirit's saying, don't let your emotions run wild. Take control. That could be related to it. But I also feel like all of a sudden I'm getting a headache, and I'm getting headaches So we'll have to keep an eye out. And if we see something going on where a lot of people in a certain area are getting headaches, perhaps we can relate it to this. And now in the picture itself, it shows the satellite being blown up. Now, Spirit told us that in the past, too, that the satellite was going to be taken out. And I believe it would be China that would be responsible for such a thing. I don't feel like that's happening this year. I feel like that's more related to 2025. So much happening, friends. So much coming our way. Did you also see that they're lined up at the banks? They're lined up at the banks, friends. Lined up trying to get their money, and they can't get their money. This is why when I'm done putting today's show together and editing it, I'm going to order me some more silver just in case. Better be safe than sorry. And even if silver goes down and I lose a little bit, regardless, if things get to a point, silver is going to be the way something you're going to need to trade. Food is a good thing to trade. Alcohol is a good thing to trade. Lots of things that you can purchase to hold on to as trading items. Because remember, Spirit said there'd be a barter system coming in the future, too. I said that years ago, many, many years ago. So they're lined up outside of China, and I see big economic shakings coming August, but again, October. I said it in my 2024 World Predictions. October, time to look for the economy. Time to get ready, friends. Stock up, get yourselves ready. And that's pretty much sums it up. That sums it up for today. Tomorrow is my weather predictions. And there's a lot coming in the way of weather, and I'm covering, wherever I'm pulled to on the globe with the map scrying, information channeled from Spirit, other predictions. Make sure you hit the subscribe, the bell, to all. Look for that video for tomorrow, premiering around the same time as we do every week, probably 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Other than that, welcome once again all of our new tribe members that are now vibing with the tribe. We welcome you with infinite love and gratitude. Thank you to all my supporters who make this free content possible for everybody else. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you for your contributions, your chat cash, and all those things that help make me have the ability to have the time to do this for you and for all of us. I am forever grateful. Again, with infinite love and gratitude. Until the next time, which will be tomorrow around 5 o'clock Pacific time, until then, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And remember to be bold, be true, be kind, be you, because you're awesome. Let your light shine. Letting your light shine is the only thing that you can do to help bring change to this world. And doing it together as a tribe, we are powerful, friends. We are powerful. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste, and much love, friends. Much love.